Hi. Recently, I found a list that I thought was just fascinating. It was very simple, but I thought, wow, this looks like a list that I need to fill out. And it's called, there were two columns, and one side said more, and the other one said less. And I thought, wow, what an opportunity to kind of sort through the things that we need more of, I need more of, and the things that I sure as heck need less of. And so I started to kind of have fun with it. I went through and I kind of quickly jotted down a few things. And I wonder if it might be kind of one of those things that could enlighten you as well. On my more list, here goes more blackberry pie. I love blackberry pie, and the older I get, we want to be careful of too much sugar. We want to be careful of too much fattening food, and I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to not overindulging and that kind of thing. But life is short, and I really think that blackberry pie is one of those things that, oh man, I just love it. My mom used to make it when I was a little girl, and it was kind of pretty much the only pie she ever made. So that kind really has some precious memories for me. So more blackberry pie. The next one is to give away things to charities. I really do like going through closets and that kind of thing periodically and filling up some sacks, taking them down to the local Goodwill or St. Vincent, Salvation Army, that kind of thing. I think most of it, I know I can speak for myself. I probably use 1/3 of what I have. It's the truth. And other people can use it. And there's no sense just holding on to that stuff. So for me, more giveaway to charities. The next one is picnics with my grandchildren. Instead of getting bogged down with stuff and with chores and that kind of thing, I decided I'm going to do more picnics. It's so simple. Pack a lunch, pack a blanket, go pick a shady spot, go to a park or even in your own backyard. Picnics are delightful and children love them. They feel special, and they are special. What an easy, inexpensive, actually pretty darn near free thing to do if you're not driving anywhere. And if you are driving somewhere to do your picnic, all you're paying for is fuel. The next one is afternoons with grandchildren. It kind of goes along with the first ones, but to kind of savor that, because I don't know how all you folks are, but I'm pretty task driven and I love my grandkids, but I kind of get caught up in what can I get done at the same time if I'm watching them or spending time with them? Hours and afternoons with them, really to be able to savor that. The next thing I want more of in my life are road trips. I love road trips. There's a sense of adventure. And, my husband and I try to take one every fall. And we get up that morning. We don't even know where we're going. We get up that morning, we get out the maps over coffee and pick out a route to go. It's just really fun. We don't have an itinerary. We just go, how about if we head over here? And then we head over there. And okay, well, how about if we head down here? And then we can go down there. And we have seen some of the most beautiful country and wandered across the coolest places just by accident, just by being open. So more road trips. The next one is more river time with the family. And the reason that I mention this is that our property adjoins a really beautiful little river, and it's just delightful. It's not huge, and it's bigger than a creek. It's considered an actual a stream, and it's year round, and it gets plenty deep in places, and you can fish in it and that kind of thing. But what I find is that family and friends tend to come over, spend time at the river, and I catch myself, and I'm always up in the house making food, cleaning up, preparing, serving, and all of that while everybody else goes to the river. Now, nobody told me that I can't go to the river. I am just one of those people, like I said, task driven. And I think to myself, well, this is going to have to be done. People are going to have to eat, everything's going to have to be ready. And now I've got to clean up. Now I've got to watch for sandy towels to come in and make sure that I get them in the wash. On and on and on. And last year, I just went down to the river and I was almost ashamed of myself that it had taken me that long to do it. I mean, I've been down there obviously many times before, but consistently, the way that I've done it is that I've let everybody else go. And I went down and I took a little blanket and went down there, took snacks and things for the kids that, they'd taken down some things already, but just sat there, sat in the shade and watched them play in the water, watched them throw stuff in, sticks and rocks, and watched them dig around in the sand, put my feet in the sand. And I thought, I'm not going to miss out on this anymore. I am not going to miss out on this anymore. People can bring their own lunch. It's not my job to serve adults, and I'm glad to have them there, but I am not entertaining. I'm going to the river. I'm going to the river with my kids and my grandkids, and it's so ridiculous that it took me this long to figure that out, isn't it? Really? The next one is forgiving. That one, I'm a very forgiving person, but I think that there is a part of us that if we've even been hurt, sometimes there's this little seed inside of us that doesn't really want to quite let it go until there's amends that have been made. Well, even before amends are made, we can forgive. We can forgive and genuinely, in love and in the true spirit of not letting go of hurt, because that takes time to heal, but letting go of the need for the amendment. Forgiving. Letting go for that repair to be made by the other person. Forgiving. The next one is cafes with my husband. I'm not talking about fancy dinners. They have their place, but I'm talking about really fun little cafes. We found some really nice little vegetarian restaurants. We found a little place a couple hours drive from here, but it is worth a drive because we like the town, where they make crepes and they serve coffee in these carafes, and they just set the whole carafe on your table. They're these beautiful, there's beautiful pottery that you drink out of, Polish pottery that is just incredibly colorful. It feels so elegant, and it's this little tiny hole in the wall, but it is such good food. Such good food and so elegant, and it just elevates your mood. It's not French, it's actually Polish. I'm not Polish, but it sort of feels like you're in a French cafe. It's got kind of that flair about it. So more cafes with my husband. The next one is champagne. I don't drink. I don't. But every Christmas time, I'll have a small glass of champagne on Christmas Day, Christmas afternoon. And I really like champagne. I found out that really, if I'm going to have a sip of anything, it's going to be champagne. Because why not? If you're going to drink something, why not have something that feels like a complete celebration? So more champagne. I might celebrate with a little champagne, maybe on my birthday. Or who knows, maybe on Mother's Day. Maybe I'll start drinking a little glass of champagne rather than once a year. Maybe I'll drink a little glass of champagne 3 or 4 times a year. I don't think it'll hurt me. And wow, what a nice little celebration a day can be made of, with more champagne. The next one is to appreciate aging. This one is tough for people. I know that men and women both have a really big struggle with this, because there's a grief process that goes along with letting go of what was and stepping into a new reality is exceedingly difficult when we have had our identity wrapped around our abilities in our younger years and also our looks. And I always think that it bothers women more, but it doesn't. I have found that men really feel impacted. They just don't talk about it as much. My husband, for example, has always been very, very fit, very muscular. I think exceedingly handsome. I mean, he is movie star gorgeous as far as I'm concerned, and I've heard it from others too. So, man, I got a good catch. But as he's gotten older, of course, he's changed. And he's quite a bit older than me. And I think that it has been, well, I can watch it on him. I can see it on him. And what I remind him of is that, aging is good for us because the more we age, the longer we live. I think that it would do all of us some good to be able to appreciate aging, this ripe and sensuous experience of living in a well-seasoned body. There's something very good about that, very wholesome about that. And the last one for today is more coffee on my porch in the morning. Now, now that the days are a little bit warmer, going out on the porch in the morning, and I get up very early and the birds are singing, and to be able to go out there and just sit down, savor it, listen to the wildlife, and center. What a holy thing, right? It's these ordinary things that really become sanctimonious if we let them. So anyway, the other side of the list is less news binging. I have found that I can get really wrapped up in current events, all kinds of wrapped up in it, and I'll watch it and watch it and watch it. And I watch both sides of the political debating that goes on a daily basis because I try to get my head around the folks that I don't agree with, and I'm finding that boy, there's some wackadoos out there. So I'm trying to take some news breaks and do less news binging, less worry over tomorrow. I think the older we get, at least in my case, there's a lot to worry about. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty regarding how your kids are going to be, how they're going to manage as they get older because of world events and also because of the prices of things, housing, and so on and so forth. Our own ability to be able to be financially secure going forward. I mean, I think unless you're Warren Buffett or, Jeff Bezos, you get the picture. Most people are not exceedingly wealthy. Most people aren't. And so I think that there can be worries about health, there can be worries about finances, there can be worries about your children's children or your adult children, your partner, the health of yourself, the health of your partner. And so I think that less worrying over tomorrow and more of offering that up and saying, all is well. All is well. For today, all is well. Less judgment. I consider myself to be a pretty open person, but there are times that there'll be this little seed that will sort of slip in before I even am consciously aware of a thought, and it'll be a judgment of some sort about somebody. And it's icky. And I catch myself with that. I think that most of us do that, where we just kind of have this snapshot. And it's like, oh, well, that's probably this way. We're wrong so much of the time. And judgment doesn't really serve. Now, discernment is different. Discernment can keep us out of trouble, but those snap judgments that come up oftentimes they're not really the way that our hearts should bend. And I'm going to work myself on being less judgmental in those snap pictures. Like I said, I'm very open. I'm non-judgmental when it comes to different cultures, different sexualities, different opinions. None of that is an issue with me. But there are still these little snap judgments that come up. People driving in a way I don't like. Well, they're probably dead. Things that don't serve anybody. We don't need that. I don't need that. So less of that. Less long, structured hours of babysitting. And I know that this may not make sense to people who really enjoy being a babysitter for their grandkids. I love my grandkids. I love spending time around them. They're delicious. But to be the structured babysitter, daycare person, I don't like it. I dedicate a certain amount of time of that a week to doing that for 2 of our grandchildren. And I have found that 1 day a week of that, a full day, is great. And then seeing them throughout the week for little snippets of time, or even, long stretches of time. But to actually have that scheduled where that is my task, and I am actually signed up to do that, it's not the same as grandparenting to me. It just doesn't have the same flow. And, the flow with the children is there, but it doesn't have the same spontaneity, and that it just feels like it's more of a have to than a want to. And so for me, it may be very different for you, but for me, I need less of that and more time with them that is just spontaneous and unstructured. The next one is, I'm done with skinny leg jeans. I don't know. I'm not sure whose idea that was. I'm not fat, and so skinny leg jeans will fit me. I can fit in them. But what a miserable experience. Is it just me? I feel like a frog. It feels like I got a little frog suit on. I don't like them. I don't really think that they look particularly good on really anybody. So I'm ditching them. I'm going back to that give things away to charity thing, that more of on my list, and I'm going to give away those skinny leg jeans. Less self-criticism. Let that one sink in. We all do it. It's that little naggy thing that kind of can wake you up in the wee hours of the morning if you're not careful. Or sneak in when you're looking in the mirror or when you're trying to do something creative, or when somebody expects something of you and you just can't deliver, or you don't want to deliver, and then you start beating yourself up and kind of, it's self-criticism. Self-reflection is good. Self-criticism is not. They're different. So less self-criticism. Less guilt over past mistakes. I, have never been a person who's done terrible things, but I don't think you have to be a person who's done terrible things to have guilt over past mistakes. I have tremendous guilt over snippets of times that I recollect an opportunity I missed that I should have done better, or something that I ignored and I knew in my heart that I should have helped out with, or something I said that I just, once those words fly, you can't take them back. Hurts that I caused, mostly it's around that. Some of it is, wrapped up in expectations that others maybe had of you. And as you reflect on it, you go, well, I really could have done better there. Not the kind of, well, they're making me feel that way or pressing on me, and so I'm behaving out of guilt, or I'm feeling these feelings out of guilt. There's also a part of these feelings that you just go, I wish I would have done differently on that occasion. And those we do also need to let go. Let go. Less guilt over past mistakes. They're in the past. Do better. If it's something that you really wish you could do over, you'll have another chance in most occasions. And the last one for today is fretting over what I didn't do with my life. I didn't go and get a huge degree in college. I haven't done extensive traveling yet. If I've done a lot of things, and I've got an education in various subjects, and I've accomplished some things that other people may not ever accomplish. But fretting over what I didn't do with my life, feeling like maybe I've squandered it, I've heard of people who are exceedingly successful go through the same, monologue in their head. What I didn't do. Well, what did you do? Think about the things that you did do. And I have to remind myself there's much that I did do. I wrote a book. I'm a writer. I raised children. I've been successfully married to the same man for almost 34 years. That is doing a lot. I am a grandmother. I have been a flight attendant. I've owned my own business since I was 19 years old, hair salons, and they were small. And I've had them in different locations, and I still hold a license. I am a trained mediator. I was a flight attendant for a while. I did some real estate for a while. I mean, all of us have done some things. And no, I didn't slay all the dragons. I didn't do anything perfectly. I didn't get a doctorate. I didn't get a master's. There's so much that I didn't do. I didn't explore countries. I didn't climb big mountains. There's a lot that I didn't do. I didn't learn a second language, a smattering of Spanish. But I'm not going to fret over what I didn't do with my life. I think that what that does is it causes anxiety, and in a way it holds us back from doing more. If we're feeling like, I've got to hurry up and figure out what I need to be doing, not to squander the rest of my life because it's in finite supply. You start to realize that when you're in your 60s, 50s, maybe. So I'm not going to fret over it. I'm going to do less fretting over what I didn't do with my life. So I'm curious to know what your less of and more of lists might have on them. I would love to hear in the comments below. Take care.